Today we're going to take a ride through Croft State Park campgrounds. They have two small loops, total of 50 campsites. It's just outside of Spartanburg, South Carolina. Really nice wooded campsites. There are a couple of small lakes on the property, and some of the sites actually overlook the lakes. There's also a very equestrian location. Lots of horses, lots of people here for horseback riding for weekends. And this is the first loop. And we'll skip site 17. I don't want to get that far out of order. All the roads are gravel. The sites are all gravel. Site 1 is pretty level. It's not very deep, but a nice wide site. And this one appears to still be 30 amp service. Yes, this is a 30 amp service campsite. A nice wooded view. We are close to the main road, but not a lot of traffic on the main road. All right, site 2 is occupied. Looks reasonably level until you get all the way in the back of the site. Site 3 looks nice and level. Site 4 is a level pull through. It's right against the road, but not a lot of traffic comes through here. Site 5, nice big pull-through site. A little uphill, but not much at all. Site 6 is a back end, pretty short site. And fairly wide. Lots of woods out the back. Site 7 is, I don't know if that's a pull through or just a pull off. Water and power are at the back of the site, but it's a nice big site. And again, there's very little traffic around this loop road. Site 8 is an easy back in. Reasonably level. Nice deep site. Lots of woods all around. Fairly private site for this loop. Site 9 is a back in. Not too deep. There's a drop off all the way around the site, but it's not very steep. Nice size site. This pine tree on the corner might make it a little bit difficult to get in, but I don't think the site's big enough for a big trailer, so it shouldn't be a problem. Site 10 is a really big site. Looks pretty level once you get in. It is downhill going in, but looks level once you're in it. It's a really big site. Site 11. Nice size site. Appears to have a little bit of cross slope down on the driver's side, but not much. 12 is another really big site with a little bit of cross slope down to the driver's side. Site 13. Kind of narrow with the 2 pine trees, but once you're in, it opens up to a nice site. Doesn't look to be too hard to get into. There is a little bit of cross slope down to the driver's side and a little bit down into the site, but not bad at all. And site 14 looks like a pretty easy back in. I don't think these trees really get in the way. It's a slight uphill all the way in. Some of these trees back in the back might interfere with the slide, but I think there's room to get pretty much anything in here and get set up. Site 15, the back end. Looks like somebody caught the tree somewhere along the way, but there really is plenty of room to get in. It's a slight uphill all the way in. Okay, and 16 is occupied. It's a very long site. And looks to be pretty level. Overlooks the overflow parking, or the what's mostly weekend parking for all the horseback riders, and the 2 horse rings. And so now we'll go around the loop the second time, and we'll look at the inside of the loop, which will start with site 17. So they pull through, downhill in, it seems to be pretty level once you're all the way in, then downhill to get back out. It's a nice big site. I don't know about this dip at the bottom. Okay, and site 18 is a back in. Not too bad. It is uphill in. It levels out once you're in the site. And opens up once you're in the site. And site 19 is a back in. Uphill, pretty good uphill grade all the way in. Looks like they get a good bit of wash through here. Okay, and site 20 is a back in, or pull through with your neighbor in 21 if y'all are together. Again, it's pretty much uphill all the way back in there. The way they have that horse trailer set is about as level as you can get it. 21 is also uphill all the way in. Both those could be pull through if you're here together. But an easy back into either one of them. 22 is one of the host sites. And right next to the bathhouse. And the bathhouses are nice, clean, well-kept bathhouses. They're old, but they're well taken care of. Okay, and this is, apparently the other campground host doesn't have a number, and this is 22, which is also a campground host. 23 is the handicap spot. Not a very big site. Reasonably flat. A couple of trees right in the middle of the site, and it does have a concrete walk down to the bathroom. 24. This is a pull-through, sort of. Not very big. Looks like it's washed a lot. And site 25. I'm not sure whether it's pull through back in or what it really amounts to. I guess it's probably a back in on one side. It does slope downhill towards the fire pit. But once we get through 25, we have completed our first loop. And we'll ride over to the other loop. And there's a little country store in between the loops. That's where the office is, and they do sell some knickknacks and a little bit of camping stuff. And we have a nice playground. And the other half of the campground here, sites 26 through 50, a nice overflow parking lot. A few of these sites are what they would call waterfront. They're really just a waterfront or a water view. And this loop of the campground is much less big rig friendly. They do have a couple of sites that are big enough for a large camper, whether it's Class A or a trailer of some sort, which is a pretty steep hill down in. And we'll start with 26, which is a pretty easy back in. Here's a little bit of cross slope to get into the site. But the site itself, and a little cross slope down to the passenger side, but not bad. There's this retaining wall all the way around the site. And I think there's sort of a trail somewhere down to the lake, but this is a lakefront campsite, so this is about as good as it gets with a view of the of the lake. In the wintertime, I assume it's much better. And I'm doing this video mid-fall, the 1st of October. And site 27 is back in. It is a small site, uphill all the way in. And even all the way in the back, it's still not level. 28 is a pull through, a downhill in. Once you're in the site, it's pretty level, but it is a very short site that's level. And 29 is a back in. It's very much uphill all the way in. And once you're in, it's pretty level, but it is still downhill, even on what's fairly level. It's right next to the bathhouse. Again, these are very nice bathhouses. They're very well taken care of. All right, site 30 is a pull through. There's a downhill in, a decent amount of slope down towards the passenger side, but it does level out once you get into the site. The site itself is pretty level. A little bit uphill back out. All right, and that is 32. That's a nice level site once you get up and in, and then it's downhill back down and out. 31 is a back in. The site itself is pretty level. A little bit of cross slope down to the passenger side. Nice access down to the water, but again, it's a good ways down to the water. And that's 32. Again, it's a nice flat spot, nice pull through, but it is steep up in and back down and out. 33 is one of the larger sites on this side, and it is uphill in, and gravel makes it a little difficult with the big rig. And 34 is a pretty easy back in. Good bit of cross slope down to the passenger side. I do not see site 35. Maybe we will pick it up in a little bit. This is 36. It's a fairly level, easy back in, decent sized site. 37. It's a very small site. Kind of rolls off both sides and rolls off the back down towards the lake pretty steeply. We have a little bit of overflow parking here. 38, be an easy back in, downhill all the way in. And nice easy access to the lake, but it is still down the hill. All right, site 39. Downhill all the way in, and then some cross slope down towards the passenger side when you get over to the campfire ring. It is very much under the trees. Okay, site 35. The numbering is kind of out of order because the access is from the wrong side, but that is 35, and it appears to have some cross slope down to the passenger side, and it is downhill as you back in all the way in, but easy to get in and out of. And this is site 40. The back in, it is downhill in, but the site itself appears to be pretty level. And it does have this small retaining wall all the way around, and a pretty steep drop off the back side. And 41. Back in, downhill all the way in. The site itself, once you're in, is fairly level. It is still downhill all the way to the back, and a good drop off all the way around the sides, but no retaining wall. And 42 is a back end that would appear to be pretty level. Decent amount of cross slope down to the passenger side. A pretty easy in and flat enough it shouldn't be too hard to get something level. 43 is a back end. A lot harder to get in with that big tree on the corner. A good bit of cross slope down on the passenger side at the drive entrance, but once you get in the site, it's pretty level. But that tree on the corner really will make it hard to get in with something big. 44, the back end, downhill all the way in, but not horrible. And they look like they've gotten pretty level. A decent size outdoor area and a decent amount of privacy. Then we have the campground host. And site 46 is downhill all the way in. The site itself looks pretty level, but it has retaining walls all the way around it. And a pretty good drop off on the outside of the retaining wall, but a nice size outdoor area. And 47 is occupied. Looks like it's downhill all the way in, and there is a tree on the corner when you got to back in. 48 looks downhill in, but not bad, and downhill towards the driver's side, not too bad. And a nice outdoor area up on the hill. Site 49 is a pull through. Uphill all the way in. Fairly level when you get in, a little bit uphill. Cross slopes down to the driver's side, and the little outdoor area up the steps on the hill. And then it's back downhill to get out. And site 50 is the back end, uphill, a good bit of cross slope down on the driver's side, a nice tree in the corner of the site, and when you're all the way in the site, it is still uphill all the way to the back, and a good bit of cross slope down towards the driver's side. But that tree on the corner really is kind of in the way, and there's a lot of cross slope down to the driver's side as you back into this site. And that concludes Loop 2 of Croft State Park campground. That's site 26 through 50. But thanks for watching, and have a great weekend camping.